Alright, for this tutorial we're going to learn how to blend textures with photos in Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the internet. I'm going to use images from Google for this tutorial. You can use images that you've either taken, textures or images of textures that you've taken, or you can also for this tutorial just use images from the web. So let's start with searching for cool textures. And I'm going to be on images. I'm going to go to my search tools real quick. I'm going to choose large file types only. And I don't really care about this, but I'm going to actually say photos that people have taken. So these are different examples. And I'm going to look for one that I like the look of. Maybe I'll keep this one simple and I'll just choose this one right here. I'm going to save image as, and I'm going to call it texture, or let's call it blend texture. Blend texture. That way I'll know exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to hit save. And then I also need to grab an image of something that I want to, like a photo that I had. So let's choose Yosemite National Park. Scroll down, see if I can find an image that I like the look of. And let's choose someone up here. Let's choose this one right here. I'm going to save this one. National. Okay. So I'm done with that. I'm now going to open up Photoshop. And I'm going to open up my two images real quick. File, open. I've got my blend texture. And then I'm also going to open up National Park, and now I'm ready to start. So the first thing that I need to do is, so we're clear, I'm going to use this texture, this blend texture, and I'm going to incorporate it into this image that I have not taken, but that I could take. And I'm going to show you how you can use some different filters and how you can blend textures with photos in Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to do right here is I'm going to go up to my window. I'm going to say arrange, and I'm going to float all in windows. It's going to make it so that I can see both of my images. I'm going to take this texture that I captured, and I'm going to drag it over here onto this image, and I'm going to close that. So now these are both on the same these are both in the same place, in the same document. And I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to grab the free transform tool. I'm going to do that by going to the edit menu, and then free transform. And I'm going to just set this so it's the same size as my image. Okay? So I've pasted the texture into the photo document. I resized my texture, right? Assuming that you need to, using the free transform tool in the edit menu, free transform. Okay? That gives me these little handles. I moved it using the move tool if I needed to, which I don't. And I'm going to click on the move tool anyways. I'm going to say apply transformation. So now I'm ready to get started with actually learning how to blend these two images. So right here actually, and you learned this in our last tutorial, are the different blend modes. Okay? By default it's set to normal, okay, which basically means that the layer is not blending with anything below it. Okay? As we go down, it's going to allow for like different types of blend modes. So if I click on dissolve, you'll see that actually nothing's going to happen. The dissolve blend mode probably doesn't have much of an effect on your image either. But if I were to go down and select the multiply blend mode, you can see that it'll blend the texture and photo together, right? And the final result looks a little bit darker. Okay. I can choose another one, like the screen blend mode, right? And you can see that this gives me another interesting result, this time looking much lighter than we saw with the multiply blend mode. Okay. If I scroll down again and I look for another one, I can look at the overlay blend mode, right? The overlay blend mode is actually, I mean, that looks pretty nice to me. It gives me a nice combination of lights and darks and has like a good contrast all the way through. Okay. In general, the multiply, screen, overlay, soft light, and hard light blend modes will give you the best results for blending your textures with photos. But again, you have a huge list of options excuse me, from which you can choose from, and I encourage you to be, take your time and investigate like what's going to look best for the image that you've chosen. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually desaturate the color from the texture. Okay, so at this moment not only is the texture itself being blended with the photo, but so is the color from the texture. That might be what you want, since blending the colors from two images can produce like an interesting result. But if you prefer to keep the original colors of the photo intact, then we need to remove the color from the texture. The easiest way to do this is to go up to the image menu, choose adjustments, and then just go down and select desaturate. Now you'll see a difference in my image now and when I desaturate it. That takes away a lot of that bright yellow color that I had in the texture. Okay, again, this comes back to determining whether or not, right, what you think. There's not a right or a wrong way. It's whether you think that it looks better, whether or not you think it looks better or not. So if you don't think that it looks better, then you can just go to edit and you can say step backwards, right? If you do like it more, then you can go ahead and you can stick with that image, adjustments, and desaturate. Alright? So for right now, just for the heck of it, I'm going to keep it on desaturated. And I'm going to go ahead next, I'm going to invert the texture. So we'll take a look at what this does. So I'm going to go back up here to my image menu. I'm going to scroll down to adjustments. And I'm going to choose invert. And what that did is it just inverted the brightness values of the texture. Okay. Again, I think that I preferred the way that it looked before, so I'm going to say step backwards. Okay. And it's very easy to go back and forth and decide what you think is going to look better. Okay. I'm going to stick with that one for now. Next, we're going to lower the texture's opacity. Right? We can do this right here in the menu, and I can just adjust it slightly, and as I go down, I'll see like where I think that you can see it's getting a little bit sharper there. Okay, so we see a little bit less of the texturing. I'm going to set it all the way down to 50%. Okay, and now like I might want to do a couple of things to enhance the effect. So one might be I might want to add a bit of a blur. So I'm going to click on my background layer, and I'm going to hold down Control and push J. You can also right click and say duplicate layer. I'm going to click on my background copy. I'm going to go up to my filter menu, filter. I'm going to scroll down to blur, and I'm going to give this a little bit of a blur. Okay, I'm going to set my radius to 1.5 for now. That'll be fine. Okay. Gives you an idea of like what the original looked like with the blur, and then with our texture. Okay. Finally, I'll actually reduce like the color saturation in the photo using an adjustment layer. So I'm going to go down here to my I'm going to add a new adjustment layer. I'm going to click on hue saturation, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to leave the hue at 0. I'm going to change the saturation to -50, so you can see I'm kind of taking out some of that color, giving it like an older, more faded look. Okay, there's no need to close this. I just can click right there, and there we go. That gives you an idea of what I can do blending a texture. Blending a texture with like an image, right, and giving it like a little bit more contrast. Right? Thanks. That's it.